I bet you've felt it, even if you didn't have a name for it. It's called the watermelon effect, and it's such a perfect metaphor. Picture a watermelon, right? On the outside, it's all green, looks great, healthy, successful, but then you slice it open, and bam, it's bright red inside. That right there is exactly what's going on in so many of our companies.
So let me just ask you straight up, does this sound familiar? You look at your IT dashboards, and they are just a sea of green. Everything's looking great. All the technical metrics are being hit. But then you talk to your business teams, your actual internal customers, and they are furious. They're seeing red. That huge, massive disconnect, that's the problem we're tackling head on today.
Yeah, this is what we call the green is red problem. And here's the thing, it happens because we're measuring the wrong stuff. We create this dangerous illusion of success. We get obsessed with tracking technical outputs, things like server uptime, while completely ignoring the business outcomes that actually matter. I'm talking about things that create real value, like is the app for the sales team actually fast enough for them to close deals? Are customers happy with the portal they're using? That's the stuff that matters.
And you know what the root cause is almost every single time? It's the broken, traditional SLA. For leadership, IT starts to feel like this expensive, mysterious black box that just doesn't deliver on its promises. And the reality is, the contract that's supposed to govern everything, it's usually this toothless document, just packed with technical jargon that means nothing to the business. It has zero connection to what the business actually needs. We've got to do better.
Okay, so that brings us to the big idea, the solution. We have to completely reframe how we think about the SLA. It's not a simple, static contract you sign and forget. No, it's a dynamic, living, strategic instrument. This is way bigger than just measurement. It's about completely redefining the relationship and governing that entire exchange of value between the business and IT. And this is what we call the Strategic SLA. Think of it as a complete governance system. Its whole job is to define the relationship, manage everyone's expectations, and, this is the most important part, align every single piece of IT service delivery with the actual, tangible outcomes the business needs. This is how we solve the watermelon effect for good.
Okay, so how do we actually build one of these? How do we put it into practice? Well, we use a really powerful framework called the Governance Pyramid. Let's break down exactly how this multi-layered structure brings some much-needed clarity and accountability into the whole IT relationship.
So every pyramid needs a strong foundation, right? That's level 1, the enabling agreement. This is the big one. It's the high-level legal and commercial contract, the one negotiated by the executives. It sets all the fundamental rules of the game. We're talking pricing, what happens if things go wrong, exit strategies, the whole 9 yards. It really is the bedrock for everything else.
Okay, moving up a level, we get to level 2, the Common Output SLA. Now, this layer is all about the services that everybody in the company uses. The shared, group-wide stuff. Think email, the general network uptime, basic security. It basically sets the baseline performance for the entire organization.
All right, now we get to level 3, and honestly, this is where the magic really happens. This is where the strategic power kicks in. We're talking about specific output SLAs. This layer is built on a simple but critical truth. Not all parts of the business are the same. The kind of performance a high-frequency trading floor needs is completely different from what an internal HR reporting system needs, right? So this is where we get specific and tailor the service to the actual business context.
And finally, we get to the very top of the pyramid, level 4, work packages. This is as granular as it gets. These are basically individual, output-based contracts for specific projects and deliverables. This is where the rubber meets the road, where your grand strategy turns into actual execution with super clear metrics, costs, and timelines for every single thing.
So let's just put it all together. The big takeaway is this. We are moving away from that old, broken model. That single, generic SLA that just focuses on some technical metric like 99.9% server uptime. And we're moving to a much smarter, multi-layered system. This new model governs the entire relationship, from the highest level principles all the way down to the tiny details of a single project. Okay, so that's the framework, but theory's one thing, right? How does this actually play out in the real world? Let's dive into a quick case study that shows just how powerful this model can be for driving a real strategic shift. Just listen to this quote from a healthcare provider. It perfectly captures the pain of the watermelon effect. They said, "We were paying for 99.95% uptime, but patient care was suffering." I mean, let that sink in. They were paying for top-tier, excellent service, but on the ground, in the real world,
Doctors were struggling and patient care was actually being hurt. So here's the story. The vendor technically was doing a great job. They were hitting that uptime SLA, green dashboard. But the critical clinical apps were so slow that they were basically useless. So what did they do? They brought in the pyramid model. They created a level 3 specific output SLA that focused on what really mattered, how fast the application responded and whether the doctors were actually happy using it. And just like that, the whole relationship changed. It went from this adversarial, finger-pointing mess to a real collaboration because for the first time, both sides were working towards the same goal, better patient care. So, how can you start doing this yourself? Here's a super simple 3-step playbook. Step 1, deconstruct. You got to figure out where you are today. Audit your current SLAs and see how or if they map to the 4 levels of the pyramid. Step 2, establish. This is not a solo mission. You need to define clear owners for who negotiates the agreements at each of those 4 levels. And step 3, and this is the big one, focus. You have to be relentless about shifting the language in every single SLA away from technical jargon and towards business outcomes that actually create value. And hey, here's a little pro tip for you. A powerful, kind of non-obvious metric you should start tracking right away, your SLA dispute rate. Seriously, ask yourself, how often are your business partners formally disputing IT's performance? If that number is anything other than 0, it's not just a small disagreement. It is a massive flashing red light telling you there is a fundamental disconnect between what IT is delivering and what the business actually values. All right, so we've covered the problem. That's the watermelon effect. We've talked about the framework, the governance pyramid, and we have a playbook. Now let's boil all of this down to one single, simple action you can take to start making a real change, like right away. Here it is, your Monday morning action. Walk into your next team meeting and ask this one simple but incredibly powerful question. Do our SLAs actually reflect the business outcomes we need to win, or are they just a glorified list of technical metrics? That's it. That one question is your first step. And I promise you, the answer you get will be the start of a conversation that can transform your SLA from a piece of paper nobody reads into the strategic core of your partnership between business and IT.